Welcome to BVP's Top 3, where we break down some of the nation's largest news stories with President and CEO of the Family Leader, Bob Vander Plaats. And today, one of the biggest stories in the land is what's going on with President Donald Trump and his foreign policy. There is a lot of very upset people about a president who's walked in with strong leadership, taking decisive actions, and you see that upsettedness all over the news media. But when we take a look at some of these issues, we take a look at a president who's bringing Ukraine and Russia to the negotiating table. When we talk about what's going on with Gaza, etc., we're seeing a president who is doing things a little outside the box. So, Bob, as we look at this number one top issue, Donald Trump and his foreign policy, what are you seeing from his leadership and what should be our takeaway?
Well, Drew, it's a great question. It's a great observation, too, as I think Donald Trump, what you're seeing as him, is his leadership DNA. He's creating a sense of urgency and a sense of urgency if I want to get things done. So like this Ukraine-Russia conflict, war, whatever you want to call it's gone on long enough. Let's get this thing done. And so when they're yelling and screaming that, listen, he's given an offer to Ukraine to end the war. What he's saying is that we're going to get to the negotiating table and we're going to get this war done. So I think it's really good. Matter of fact, Gaza, when people say, what do you think about him saying, the United States wants to take over the Gaza Strip? I think what he's saying is that this place has been a hot mess for a long time. It needs to be cleaned up. It needs to be redone. This could be the Riviera of the Middle East, casting a bigger vision. And what he's starting to do, Drew, he's getting people to think about, okay, what are the best strategies? What's the best win-win for Russia, Ukraine to end the war? What's the best strategy, say, for the Gaza Strip and to clean that place up, root out all the terrorist organizations once and for all, so that Palestinians and Jewish people and others can live there, but with peace and prosperity. So I think you got to take a look at it for what it's worth. Even the whole tariff deal. The tariff deal is saying, listen, we're going to put America first. And you guys have taken us to the bank long enough. And so he's bringing other countries to the table as well. So I think what you're seeing him, his leadership DNA. He wants to push the envelope. He wants to think outside the box and get the people thinking about, but really what he wants results with Russia, Ukraine. He wants results with Gaza, and he wants results with keeping America first.
So kind of what I'm seeing is, and I think this is a piggyback into what you're saying, Bob, there's sort of a don't panic about the first offer that gets brought to the table. We have a president who's bringing the art of the deal to the table, and more importantly, bringing parties to the table who weren't coming before.
You're really seeing what's made him successful for such a long time, because you're right. It is the art of the deal. It's thinking outside the box. Even when he mentioned the deal about Gaza, when Netanyahu was standing right next to him, I watched Netanyahu, and Netanyahu kind of looked at him and, laughed a little bit, but kind of like, I never thought about that. I mean, it was like, this is new to me. Well, now you're getting serious leaders doing serious thinking, and that's what he wants to do. I would say, let's wait till the dust settles, the smoke clears, and see what's really on the table at that point.
Well, speaking of dust and smoke, and I mentioned earlier a bit of a panic in the news media, Elon Musk, the Department of Government Efficiency, and the cuts that are draining the swamp, I think you could say, in ways that has the DC news media going nuts. We've seen a lot of good things come out of that. I think Doge just posted $55 billion in savings. But Bob, you're at the spear's tip of a call for Doge, for President Trump, and for future leaders to cut one more thing from the government budget. What are we talking about?
Well, first of all, we want to give a lot of kudos to Elon Musk and President Trump for saying we're finally going to drain the swamp. We're going to get rid of unnecessary spending. So the $55 billion, that might be pencil dust to the federal government, but that's real money to the American people. And Drew, I believe they got like another 4.7 trillion to go through, and to see what's going to be, exposed in that wasteful spending. But one of the easy ones, we talk about low hanging fruit. As leaders, we like to say, let's get some wins under our belt. Let's create momentum. Well, low hanging fruit right now for us, especially for the people that are very concerned about the sanctity of human life, the preservation of the family and society, is defund Planned Parenthood. Yes. It's $700 million. And again, $700 million might not be a lot of money to the federal government, but it's more than the $700 million. It's symbolic. We are no longer paying you to kill the children in this country. We're happy to redirect it to women's health or to nurture children, but we're not going to give it to entities anymore that make their living off of killing the babies.
And Bob, how do you see that issue playing out in Iowa, especially as we look forward to the 2028, the next round of the Iowa caucuses? How is this issue going to play a role there?
I think it's going to play a big role. A matter of fact, I just met with Governor DeSantis. I'm here in Florida, and I just met with him this morning. And he talked about what Florida is doing by implementing their own Doge, so to speak. And obviously, you saw Governor DeSantis and Casey DeSantis on the forefront of defeating the abortion amendment that was up here in Florida this past November. You see Kim Reynolds leading on the sanctity of human life, implementing her own Doge policies here in the state. Remember, they just had her in D.C. and talking about all the streamlining that Iowa's done. So the sanctity of human life is always going to be pivotal. The wasteful government spending, especially when it goes to things that are immoral, is going to be highlighted. So it's going to be a big issue in 2028. I think this is one that if I'm J.D. Vance, and I'm just speculating that he might want to run for president, I would try to be the leader on this one of defunding Planned Parenthood. It would do him well.
Well, speaking of Iowa, we're going to move on to topic number 3, which is some good news for the state of Iowa, some good news for some other states, and bad news for others. We've just had something come out, a recent study put together by a professor from the University of Virginia and some colleagues of ours in Ohio. They're calling it the Family Structure Index. Bob, Iowa is ranked number 8. Talk to us about this good news.
Well, kudos to the state of Iowa, and kudos again to our elected leaders, but also to the families in Iowa, the churches in Iowa. There's a lot of people who should be able to take credit for being ranked 8th in the country when it comes to the Family Structure Index. The institution of the family matters. It was God's first institution. The stronger the families, the stronger your churches, the stronger your communities, the stronger your state, the stronger your country. It goes back to that basic institution of the family, which is kind of the first institution even of governance. If you can govern your family, you can govern a lot of other things as well. But I know Governor Reynolds awfully well. I talked to her this morning as well, but she's probably not going to settle for being number 8 in the country. She'll want to be, I want to be number 1 in the country. I remember, Drew, when I was in education as a teacher and a coach and high school principal, we prided ourselves in being number 1 in education. When the ACT scores came out, the other scores came out that gave the rankings of where you found the index in education. But boy, if we slipped to 2 or 3, that was kind of alarm bells. So I know Governor Reynolds is going to see number 8 as really kind of great news for her leadership, great news for Iowa. But I guarantee she's also going to take it as we've got work to do. And we, the family leader, have work to do too. And those all of you watching and who support us, let's make sure that we get Iowa up to that number 1 ranking. And we only do that by having a common sense revolution that's based on God's word, which would be a spiritual revival. Let's start here.
Yeah. The Family Structure Index, by the way, for those of you who are watching, based on 3 factors. One is how, let's see, it's one factor is the birth rate, the actual birth rate in a state. A second factor is the number of couples, the percentage of couples who are married, and then finally teenagers growing up in homes where they have 2 parents and a stable family structure. That's how that index is built. Iowa ranks number 8. For more information on that, to discover a little more details, I would encourage you, we've got a graphic up on our Facebook page. Visit the Family Leader on Facebook. And if you happen to be watching this on social media, I'd also encourage you to come over to our website to check us out at thefamilyleader.com. Thank you very much for watching BVP's Top 3 today, and we'll see you next time.